everybody for coming out tonight. Just like I mentioned earlier, I want to thank our food sponsors tonight with the pulled pork barbecue and chips. County Market and IV chipped in, donated that tonight. Also, Springfield Vintage, providing a loan prize for those who have answered the question that we had at the table there for you. If you fill out that questionnaire, I'm going to put it in the container in the back there. We'll pull that within the next hour, and you'll be a lucky Springfield Vintage loan prize winner. So again, I've got a project overview, accomplishments, question and answers. I'm Chris Richmond. For those who weren't at the last community meeting, for those who don't already know who I am, I was your city fire marshal from 2013 through May of 2019. When I retired, I put in my 25 years of public service. I decided to move on, and part of what I moved on to was community volunteer. So community engagement was a big part of my job throughout my entire career. It's something that I still enjoy doing, and so this is part of my retirement. Is becoming the community coordinator as a volunteer for what has come to be known as Moving Pillsbury Forward. So that's a little bit about who I am. 25 years with the city, with the fire department. I'm a lifelong Springfield resident. I graduated from District 186, although I'm one of those South Siders. I'm very familiar with Lanphier High School, though. And I've been here all my life. As a matter of fact, I'm 8th generation here in St. County, so I've got roots on both sides of the family that go way back to the wagon train. So it's a community I have deep roots in, and I love this community, and that's why I'm here. I also, I want to introduce a few of the working group members that have put in an awful lot of work in the last 3 months since we formed up. I've got Mary Francis towards the back there. She's passing out paperwork. I've also had Holly Hoskin is in the room here somewhere. She's been super helpful, as well as our Pillsbury Neighborhood Association President John Keller is back here somewhere toward the back as well. Oh, no, he's on the side, and he's standing next to our Pillsbury Neighborhood NPO, Jeff Tracker. He's been in the neighborhood doing some wonderful things for the neighborhood for, 2 years now? Is that my understanding? 2 years? Year and a half. Okay, perfect. And we've got some news from Jeff to share tonight as well. We've also got some elected officials in the room. Let's see, I know the mayor stepped in, as well as our corporate council, and our community relations director Juan's back there as well. And we've got Alderman McMillan on the far side over here. So, have I missed anyone? We've also got Micah here in the back, who's a school board member. Thanks, Micah, for helping arrange our location tonight. We appreciate it. It would have been very hard to do this without you, so thank you very much. And I'm sorry, yeah, we've got another school board member. Is it Scott? Yes, Scott McFarland's here tonight too. You represent the sub-district that's right here. Yep. That's right. So appreciate your support, the school district support. Hopefully the school district understands. And one thing I want the entire community to understand is what our three primary goals of this project are. When I say project, the Moving Pillsbury Forward project. Number one, that's take control of the situation. We've had 19 years of a shuttered factory on the north end that's grown like a cancer in that entire neighborhood, and we know it's bringing it down, and it's high time that we get our arms around it and deal with it. It's just simply been too long. That's our number one thing, is to try to take control of the situation. I'll explain in a few minutes how we've started to go about that. The number two thing for our project is to plan for cleanup and demolition. It's unhealthy for everyone there. Tragic criminal event took place there in 2014, 2015. The asbestos contamination and exposure. Tragic situation for the community. It's unhealthy. We need to get our arms around it, and we need to give the community, and particularly the neighborhood right around Pillsbury, opportunity to get past this and move forward in a healthy way as a part of our community, because we're not going to leave anybody behind in this town. Number three, redevelop the site. Make it productive once again, back on the tax rolls. What do I mean when I say that? 1991, when Cargill bought the Pillsbury plant, after 70 years of operation with Pillsbury, it had a tax valuation of $19 million. In today's property tax numbers, that equates to about $600,000 a year in property tax. $400,000 of that a year would have gone right here to the District 186, Lanphier High School, and the other schools, and supported this part of the community. That's the valuation that Pillsbury meant to North End to Springfield for over 60 years. We're trying to get some of that back, because we know what's happened in the last 19 years. It was sold for scrap in 2007 when Cargill couldn't find a public or a private partner, a private entity to sell it to. They sold it for scrap, dramatically devalued it to less than $1 million. And since 2013, there have been zero taxes collected on that property. So three things: take control of the situation, plan for cleanup and demolition, and redevelop the site, get it back on the tax rolls, get it into a positive position for the community again, so the North End can have a positive driver on that 18 acres like it once was for our community. So this is the point at which I have a brief history of the Pillsbury property. The water tower that still stands there today was put there in 1929 when the factory came into being, when it opened for business. So that's been there since 1929, 90 years now. The factory operated as a mill, producing huge amounts of flour, wheat, storage bins. There's 3 million bushels of storage that you see in those big concrete silos there. 1950, 1,500 employees. And as I mentioned at our community meeting a couple of months ago, that's been one of the things that's been most surprising to me about this entire project, is when you have a place that had 1,500 employees, even if it's the year 2019 and year 2020, almost everybody in this community has an extended family member with an association with that plant. I know I do. I've shared my story many times. My father worked there for over 20 years and put me and my family, my brother through college with the job that he had there. So I'm thankful that it was there and a productive part of our community. 1991, Cargill Corporation bought Pillsbury. They operated it for another 10 years. 2001, Cargill mothballs the plant. It doesn't fit into their corporate strategic vision anymore. The community's grown up around it. It's a little bit more difficult to get the traffic in and out of the facility than it's worth to them. So they mothball the plant. They try to actively market it for another 6 years. During that time, in 2005, the city of Springfield partners up with the Chamber of Commerce and the Local Economic Development Commission, and they do what's called a mini charrette. That's a French term for coming together of the minds. 64 of our community leaders in 2005 came together to try to put their minds together on what can we do with this plant that's now been mothballed for almost 5 years. They brainstormed, they had a lot of good ideas, but at the end of the day, they didn't have consensus. Man, gotta have consensus. You gotta get the whole community with a vision for where you're going in one direction. That was the tough thing. No consensus. Couldn't decide what the best thing to do with it was. Cargill waited for another year, almost 2 years, and then they unloaded it for scrap. Once it was unloaded for scrap, starting in 2008, the city issued demolition permits to the scrap company. Scrap metal was taken out of the site for a number of years by the first scrap metal operator. And then it was sold contract for deed to another scrap metal operator in 2013. That's the point at which the site continued to be mined for its metal and scrap. There's a lot of stainless steel in there. There's a lot of heavy steel. There's a lot of copper that used to exist in that plant. Much of it was wrapped with asbestos. Unfortunately, corners were cut by the second scrap dealer. The asbestos wasn't taken care of as it legally should have been. Criminal activity took place. One person went to federal prison. The place was left a mess from a dramatic event that happened in October of 2014, a little over 5 years ago now. Some of us that worked for the city of Springfield in public safety took a leading role for the city on behalf of the residents and tried to get it as close to right as we could with the Illinois EPA and the US EPA. And the problem was big enough and bad enough that the US EPA came in and did a nearly $2 million emergency cleanup at that site and removed over 200 tons of contaminated, mostly asbestos-contaminated debris and other hazardous materials. So that happened throughout 2017. Then it was turned back over to the Illinois EPA. The Illinois EPA maintained their injunction on the property. A lock was put on the front gate. And for the last 2 years, that's how the property's set. What I will say is, we know over this whole period of time that there's been criminal trespass. We've got a problem with kids getting on the property, curiosity seekers, others that are there trespassing on the property, not doing what they should, taking scrap metal out of it, all of those sorts of activities. So we, as a city, we've had to actively manage and oversee this problem property in our community for the last several years. And it comes with the community carrying costs. Right now, I'm estimating that cost is approximately $30,000 a year just to babysit Pillsbury. It's a tough thing, but that's what it is. All the while, I'm not collecting property tax. So that's our brief history. If you'd like a much more detailed history, there are sheets of paper on every table that has our website on it. Moving Pillsbury Forward has developed a website where we have an abundance of information on the website. We've got the copy of the charrette, we've got a copy of the US EPA activities, we've got links to the history of the Pillsbury neighborhood. If you haven't been there, please go. You can find all the information you might want about the history of the site. So what do we know today? Today, this is going to be tough for some people to hear, but I've heard this from dozens of people in the community at this point, is that the city bears some local responsibility due to lack of oversight. When I say that, the city, that's formerly the city of Springfield. The owners broke the law and made a mess. Let's not get that confused. but the city issued a demolition permit, and they didn't maintain a reasonable level of oversight and follow-up on inspections. How do we know all that? Well, that was documented in a criminal investigation that led to at the federal level, that led to a jail term for one of the principals involved in the activities that took place at the site in 2014 and 15. So that's what we know. And what we know now is the time to make that right. So, moving Pillsbury forward, we've got a multi-phase plan that's reasonable and workable. We challenged ourselves as a working group to come up with a plan that the community could work with and move forward with. So phase one is underway. We're to make the property safer. We talked to the community. Everybody in the community told us the number one priority is to get that property in a much safer condition than it was this fall when we started. And I can report to you tonight that we have been quite successful in that. We've taken the owners of record back to court multiple times. They'll be back in court in Judge Madonia's courtroom on January 31st. And they've been made to patch the holes in the fence that all the kids have been getting into. We've also worked with the city of Springfield. They've helped us a lot on getting the lights turned back on around the property, even some of the lights that are on the private property portion. And as I mentioned earlier, we've been working with a neighborhood police officer who reported out to me just recently that there are 33 streetlights in the neighborhood surrounding Pillsbury within a 3-block area that have been identified for upgrade and replacement with new LED lights. LED lights that provide for a clearer, brighter light and a safer feel to the Pillsbury and surrounding property. So that's been done, and we appreciate that. We've done that through working with the city. And we've also scheduled a Moving Pillsbury Forward sponsored March 7th cleanup day at the Pillsbury property. So we'll be putting information out on our website and out to the community about Moving Springfield Forward sponsored cleanup day at the Pillsbury site, where we're going to try to cut down weed trees, trim back the overgrown weeds, edge the sidewalks, make the place much more presentable than it is today. But also, when we cut those weed trees down, we increase the sight lines for our community police officers to be able to keep a much better eye on the property and what's going on. Because what we know is in the spring and summertime, when those weed trees that are now growing up 6, 8, 10 feet tall, they make a good hiding place for people to do things that are not legal. So again, we've done that. Phase two is in progress right now. We've reached out to the city. We've identified that the 3 boulevard parcels where the workers from Pillsbury formerly parked the employees parked their vehicles before they came into their shift to work at the factory. There's 3 large boulevard parcels along 15th Street that go for 3 blocks. Those have been identified as part of the Pillsbury property that haven't had taxes paid in over 7 years. And we have asked the city to take legal title to those so that we can work with the community to turn those into green space and a green space buffer for the neighborhood from the Pillsbury plan. And that's something that I think is very doable and achievable when we all work together and we work with the city of Springfield. The city of Springfield has been maintaining these parcels, by the way, for the last several years already. So we know that's an achievable piece of progress that we anticipate seeing happen in the next few months. Phase 3. Phase 3 is also in progress, and that is design and demolition and redevelopment plan. What we did by the first week of December is we met with Mayor Lanphier and his team, and we asked them to work with us. Work with us wholeheartedly in moving this forward as quickly as we reasonably can, because of course this has been too long already. And they have been working with us to some extent, perhaps not as fast as all of us would like, but you know, we all have different speeds that we have to work at. So we understand that. We are hopeful to see some money in the new city budget allocated for the Pillsbury property. We asked for as much as $50,000 to be put in the new city budget for safety and security of this property, some grant writing for this property, and for what's called an environmental phase 1 that we all recognize as the first step that needs to take place at this property. So we've made some asks to the city. We're in that budget crunching time, as most of us in the room should know. We're in the budget time for the city. The new city fiscal year starts March 1st, and your alderman and mayor will be voting on the new city budget within the next few weeks. So we worked hard to step up our program just as fast as we could to get that ask into the city budget, and we're still hopeful that that's going to happen. So we've consulted professionals. We're confident that a reasonable and workable plan can be in place and enacted within a 5-year period. That's not overly optimistic. As I talk to multiple professionals throughout the community, and I talk to civil engineers, brownfield specialists, demolition experts, folks that have done these kind of projects many times, 5 years is very reasonable. 5 years is our goal to get this leveled and put back on the tax rolls working for our community. So that leads me to the next thing. The only missing element is the political will at this point. We've got 11 elected officials who sit around the horseshoe of the city council, and we need to motivate them. We need to make sure they understand just how important this is to our community. And we need to get them comfortable with taking on the financial and perceived liability risks of this site for all the right reasons. And we can manage those risks, and we'll work with them, certainly, on managing those risks, because we don't want the city to take on any more risks than it absolutely has to. But what we also know is this needs done. It's way overdue. So, what can you do to help? Make your voice heard. Tell your local elected officials the time is now. It's been too long. It's time to break the negative spiral. It's time to take control and look to a better tomorrow. Tell those officials to get busy, working on a solution, working with us. Again, don't take no for an answer. That's not good enough. We need this cancer removed from our city. So I'm going to close my remarks tonight. I want to end the presentation with a brief but powerful quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. He was born on this day, January 15th, 1929. Same year the Pillsbury plant opened. The time is always right to do what is right. Thank you. I invite questions. Any questions you may have at this time. We'll fill out the remainder of our time till 7 o'clock with questions from throughout the room. I appreciate your time and your efforts in coming out tonight. Thank you.